In the previous section, we have been designing the create post and the manage post pages. Now these pages are going to be the most common pages in the admin section, and by that I mean that almost every item on the left sidebar here is going to have a create page and a manage page. For example, if you take a look at the finished project, the topics is also going to have a add topic or create topic page which has a form, and a manage topics page which has a table. The same thing for users, it has a form and a table. The same thing for roles and permissions and collections. So this repetition is going to make our work easy, because we are just going to basically copy this and paste it for topics and then modify it slightly to suit our topics, and then do the same for the other items. Okay, so let us start working on this. Now this is what our project folder looks like. We have the assets folder here for CSS, images and JavaScript, and then of course we have the admin folder which has the files that represent our admin pages. Now we had our create post and our manage post pages inside the post folder, so we are going to create a new folder now for topics. We're going to call it topics, and we are also going to create two files. The first is create.html for the create topic page, and then the next is index.html for the manage topics page. Now, like I said, the create topics page is going to look like the create posts page. So I'll open create.html inside our post folder, and I'll select all the code within it and copy. And then I'll open create.html, this time inside our topics folder, and then I'll paste the code we just copied. Now I'll scroll to the top and make sure I modify this code to match our topic or what we want for our topic page. And by the way, let me just open that so that we can be comparing as we start or as we modify. Okay, the first thing is we don't need the Quill.js editor on our create topic form. As seen on the finished project, we are using the simple text area. So we are going to take out, so I just took out the link to the CSS for our Quill.js editor. Now the title tag is going to say create topic instead of create post. The header or the navigation bar is going to remain the same for topics. The sidebar is also going to remain the same, so we'll leave those unchanged. Then as for the page contents, the table we are using for topics is much smaller than the one we used for our create posts. Alright, so we are going to use the smaller class for it. Now this one is medium box, the one that we use for create post, so the smaller size will be our small box. Since we are not going to be uploading any files on this create topic form, I'm going to remove the enc prop on the form. Then the title of the form should say create topic instead of create post, and I will just remove the form errors. We will only display them when there are errors. We just added the HTML so that we can write styles for it. Okay, the first field on the create topic form is going to be the name field. So I'm going to change from title here to name. We make sure that the label starts with a capital letter N, and that's it for the name field. The next is going to be the description. So we'll change this from body to description. And the ID of the field, actually here we are not using the text editor, so I will remove this div and replace it with the normal text area. The name, we'll set the name attribute to description, making sure we start with a small letter D. And then the ID of the field is going to be description as well. And we make sure that the for attribute on the label has a value of description so that it points to this text area. We don't need to set the number of columns and number of rows. We can just remove those and set the class to input control instead. We already wrote styles for input control for text areas, so this is enough. Okay, so those are the only two input fields. We don't need the post details, so I'm going to take that part out. Also, we don't need the publish field, so I'm also going to take that out. The save button will remain there. Alright, and then we proceed down the page and we'll remove the include statements for the Query.js library, as well as the configuration file for the Query.js editor, since we don't use those on this page. And then again, we are not previewing any image on the form, so I'm going to take out this script that's responsible for previewing the image on the form. And with this, I believe we've made all the changes for this to look now like a create topic form. Let us open our project. Now to open this, we'll go to the topics folder, then open create.html, and this looks like our finished project, so we are good. So the next thing we are working on is the manage topics page. Okay, so that's the page where we have the table. So we will go to index.html under the posts folder and select all the code inside this file and copy it. And then we open index.html inside the topics folder and paste this code inside it. And then we'll scroll to the top and start modifying it to suit our topics. We'll change from manage posts to manage topics. The header or the navigation bar is going to remain the same. The sidebar is going to remain the same, so we scroll past that. The title of the table is going to say topics instead of posts. And as seen on the finished project, the table for topics is going to be the small table. So we will change from using the large box class to using the small box class on the admin table. Okay. We don't need to display the flash message again. We only added the HTML to style it. We don't need the featured post form, so I'm going to take that out. For the table actions, we don't need to filter the entries on the topics table, so I'm going to take out the table filter group. And then on the finished project, we have only one button. So I'm going to remove one of these buttons. And then the one that remains will change from add post to add topic. And now we have one button and it is being surrounded by two divs. And this feels like a waste. We can just remove one of the div elements. That is, I'm removing the table buttons element because it doesn't look very useful. Okay, now that I've removed that, if we refresh our project, let me go to manage topics page. Okay, I can identify two issues already. The first is that our table is not being centralized. So let us centralize it. I will select the admin table class and then I will open our styles admin_style.css and I'll search for admin table. So this is where we have defined the styles for our tables. So what I will do is, I'm going to define a new selector only for admin table, and I will set the margin top to 0 and then left and right auto. When we do left and right auto, it is going to centralize any item, or it is going to centralize the admin table on the page like horizontally. So if we refresh this, it will centralize it. So that fixes one of our issues. The next issue is we want this button to be displayed to the right. Now if we take a look at the styles that we defined for the parent of this button, let us look at the styles for table actions. I'll search here for table actions, and here this is it. We are giving it a justify content of space between. This simply means that we should display the child elements in this element such that there will be space between them. Now that there is only one element, there's no way to space them, so automatically it displays at the beginning. But what I want us to do is I'm going to add another element, an empty element. That way display space between will mean that this one will be displayed to the right, and then this one will be displayed to the left, and then this one, the button, will be pushed to the right. So that is how you provide space between two elements. When you do that, automatically the button is moved to the right. So this is a little trick to align one item inside a div to the right. Okay, so the next thing is to display the appropriate columns for topics. So for topics, on the finished project, we have only 3 columns: the serial number, which is the numbering on the number of rows on the table, the name of the topic, and then the number of articles under that topic. So I'll leave only 3 headers or columns on the table and make sure I rename them accordingly. So this one will be the topic name, and the last column will be number of posts. Okay, on the table row, I'm going to make sure I leave only 3 table data columns. Okay, so the first is the serial number, 1 is fine. The second is the topic. Let me just place self-help as a sample topic, and then the last is number of posts. I'll put 5. I'll just take out the other row, delete it, and then let me just duplicate the one we just modified so that we can have at least 2 columns or 2 rows. Now this one, I will give it a topic of journaling and set it to 19 articles or 19 number of posts, or 19 as number of posts. We don't need pagination in this particular table, so I'll take out the table footer. Okay, and then down here we don't need featured post script, so I'm going to take out the script for that. And then I believe that's all the changes we need on this page. Let us refresh, and our table looks like what we want it to be on the finished project. Okay, so we are going to leave out these edit and delete buttons. Or you know what, let's just add them. I'm going to open index.html and scroll down to the table, and I can just copy this div, the td action links div, and then paste it inside each of the table rows under the name of the topic. Okay, let me see. We don't need to wrap our own inside a link because we are not making it clickable. We'll just leave it at this. And this is what it looks like. We don't need the related post link, so I'm going to take that out, as well as the last inline divider. Okay, so that's it for our add topic page as well as the manage topics page. See you in the next video.